pick your class and
earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Welcome to episode 193 of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by
WoofWoofWolffe, here from Star Wars YouTube. I do a lot of Battlefront 2 gameplay videos, recreations, clone of the week, you name it.
In this episode, we're going over the recent news that EA is, quote, doubling down on Star Wars games, the future of the community, talking a bit about the awesome video that Wolf did, as well as our favorite game modes in Battlefront.
Splendid. I'm very excited to be here today and to talk about what I love.
Let's get started. So first off, let's get the EA news that everyone has been talking about since it came out. EA is, quote, doubling down on Star Wars games. What do you think of all of this?
Yeah, I was very excited to see that. I believe I actually saw Wayfinder post that on Twitter with EA saying that they're going to make another Star Wars game. Really exciting stuff. I'm obviously excited for Star Wars Squadrons, but to hear that there's another game, I mean, am I really going to be upset about that? I know some people online were saying that they were a little concerned because they said 2 Star Wars games, quote, being rushed out, end quote. I don't think that necessarily is the case, but I'm very glad that EA is putting attention towards their Star Wars fan base and community.
So Battlefront 2015 and Battlefront 2, as well as Jedi Fallen Order, have been the Star Wars EA games that we've gotten so far. This has been a topic for quite some time on the Battlefront podcast, but let's go over it with this information as well. So the EA license ends in about 3 years or so. It expires in 2023. I think it's very interesting that they're going to say now that they're going to double down on Star Wars games when we've had when they've had the license 7 years now. One thing that I think is definitely clear is the numbers. So Battlefront has had insane growth recently from it being added to Steam and it being added for the free PlayStation Plus game. It has been super, super popular, which is really weird considering how close it has been since they ended support.
Right. I've been seeing all that with, was it 14 million players now?
It's insane. It's like what that's like that's something that is crazy to think about. And someone also put up a comparison between Battlefront and Battlefield 5, and it's really night and day the difference between those two. And it's crazy to think that they decided to go with Battlefield 5 after these huge numbers. It's definitely an odd choice for them, but I definitely think that DICE isn't a multi-game studio as much as they would like to be. We saw that with Battlefield and Battlefront, specifically in this wave of games where you have Battlefield 5 getting an update, and then when that happened, you saw a lull in Battlefront updates, and then vice versa. You saw Battlefront getting amazing support, and then Battlefield 5 was really, really low support.
Right. Although I can't speak too much for the Battlefield community, I definitely saw that as well when they were, diverting attention from Battlefront. Our community, really felt that. But also when they were giving us attention, it was amazing.
Definitely, it was good to be the golden child.
Indeed. I definitely believe that EA is going to do everything that they can to re-instill trust in the community. I think they've done a good part with a large, number of the community ever since, the Battlefront 2 mishap.
Definitely.
But I still believe that the wider community that isn't as engaged still feels a certain way towards EA, and they're just trying to make sure that they can, hold on to the license. I don't know if that's for better or for worse, but we'll see with, how these games turn out. Both Squadrons and the other game that they're going to double down on. Definitely. In the coming months.
They're making good strides too. So we have Star Wars Squadrons not having any microtransactions, but they're also not planning on any updates currently. So previous episode was recorded before the trailer and all the information came out. But Star Wars Squadron has a slew of awesome content. It definitely seems like they took the best aspects of Starfighter Squadron and brought that over to its own game, basically. Carrying over a lot of the things, including the descriptions of the vehicles, too, being directly brought over from Battlefront.
Wow, people really pay attention to detail. I would not have known that.
One of the Criterion guys actually noted this on Twitter, that it was the word for word what he'd written for Battlefront. He was really happy that it was carrying on the legacy into the new game. It's really awesome to see, but there, like you said, there is definitely that broader scope of game people who play games, people who read, who read the very poorly written and not really researched reports on Battlefront at its beginning, where you had these very negative and very off-putting reports on Battlefront and its microtransactions. Really,
there were a lot of those.
Yes, and like Battlefront didn't do anything over the top. It did what every other game was doing. It just somehow got to be the poster child for microtransactions. And I think that
100%.
That definitely
100%.
has to do with EA, and EA being a company that in the gaming community isn't really highly respected.
No, obviously. I think they were voted the most disliked company in the United States.
I think so.
Multiple years in a row. I think, they made the Guinness Book of World Records for that Reddit reply.
Yes.
For most downvoted comment. I definitely don't remember being very upset. I remember just when Battlefront 2 came out, I was very excited to get Naboo, to get such a beautiful game, Clone Wars, all this stuff. So for me, I wasn't very upset that Vader cost so much. But when they actually broke down the numbers of how many hours of gameplay you would need to unlock these characters, which felt like they should have came with the game, I was like, okay, I'm on board with everyone being upset. I read an article about Battlefront 2 being banned in certain countries in Europe because it was gambling.
Yes.
Because you were putting money in for loot crates. I don't need to explain what that is. I'm sure everyone's very familiar. But yeah, no, it's a good step that EA has been, giving us. I think they've, in my opinion, with Battlefront 2 have more than made up with all the free DLC, much more than I expected to come to the game, personally. But so I'm not upset with EA, though. I do really hope that they continue to communicate with the community and consult people for what they want to see in a Star Wars game, because everyone's very passionate about Star Wars in the community. And
definitely,
as you can see, it pulls on heartstrings, both positive and negative.
People are very, very passionate about it. So that news that EA is doubling down was an IGN report in an investors meeting, I believe. They had that quote, and you can see at least on Twitter there, when they posted that, you can see a large group of gamers coming on the EA hate train once more. And Battlefront, even with all of that negative, did extremely well. One of the top selling games for EA. Not as high as Sims or Apex, which are the top tier ones, but it's definitely interesting to see. On that front, what kind of games would you like to see EA make going forward?
Oh my, what kind of games would I like to see? I would love to see some form, and I know a lot of people say they want to see remastered versions of Republic Commando or Jedi Knight. I want to see something new for sure.
Definitely.
I would love to have an open world Star Wars game which allows you to visit planets, fly your own ship, customize your own ship, and not like SWTOR. I really do mean full functionality, like Jedi Fallen Order, I guess, but with more freedom. Not such a linear game meant for single player, but also open world multiplayer would be amazing, where people can live out their Star Wars games. And maybe, who knows, in the future we might be able to make that virtual reality supported, so that you don't even have to. You can just escape into this Star Wars world, with all the planets, with all the characters, be who you want. I think that would be the dream for me.
Definitely. So talking about VR, what are your thoughts on Squadrons and its support of VR? Because I think that's definitely a huge step forward for VR gaming.
I am so excited for that. Have you played Vader Immortal in virtual reality?
Sadly, no. The only experience I've had with VR is we have PlayStation VR, so I know it's getting added soon. But I played the Battlefront 2015 VR, and that was such an awesome experience.
That was amazing. Yeah, so funny story. I have a friend of mine who ate at Taco Bell for a month because he wanted to win a PlayStation VR. He won 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I managed to go over to his house, and I played that Battlefront 2015 VR experience. And my God, using the buttons, the target rangefinder, seeing the Star Destroyer, like in life size, it was massive. And the immediate moment when I saw that Star Destroyer, I was like, this is the future, being able to live in Star Wars and play. And so when Star Wars Squadrons came out with VR capability for multiplayer, I was like, people are not going to know what they want or not want, but when they experience this, I hope it's awesome for everyone.
Definitely.
I've played Vader Immortal. I got it because someone who worked on the lighting in Vader Immortal had reached out to me on Instagram. He had told me that, hey, you should definitely get the game. I was like, I don't have a VR headset. He's like, get the VR headset. This is an experience as a Star Wars fan you don't want to miss. So I picked up a Rift, which didn't work with my PC at the time, returned it, got a Quest. And the Quest is portable, lower res, but it does support Vader Immortal. And my God, I mean, being able to use a lightsaber, I spent hours on end in my VR headset just fighting droids. I unlocked Mace Windu's lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, training droids. It was awesome. And I remember being like, wow, everyone needs to experience this. I shared it with, oh man, I've watched that headset a bunch because I've shared it with like 25, 30 people. I brought it with me when I went to London to share with people over there. I gotta let you experience it as well. I mean, I'll fly out to visit. It's such a cool experience.
Definitely. Dude, if I'm ever in California or you're ever in Colorado, come on over.
I was actually really excited that Squadron supports the flight simulator controls.
What is it, HOTAS? I was confused when people in the Squadrons Discord were talking about that because I had no experience with that area of gaming at all. And then I'm like, why do they keep on using this word? So I looked it up, and those things are intense, and there's such a passionate community around those.
Oh yeah. I mean, we might have future pilots or current pilots in those Discord communities. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't know what HOTAS was either. I'm not gonna pretend like I did. It was very cool to learn about that.
Yeah, I think this will be one of the stepping stones. So we've got Half-Life Alyx. That's one of those like tentpole kind of VR games, one that's like really pushing the platform. And then you have, I think this is going to be another one of those types of games where you have such a widespread community that are going to be interested in the VR landscape of games because of this.
Mm-hmm. Half-Life Alyx was incredible. Was absolutely incredible.
I haven't seen anything on it. Just like
really, I will not talk about it then.
Yeah, so I've been kind of keeping away from it just because eventually I want to play it. Now that I've got the PC, I'll have to start researching into VR headsets so I can experience all of that fun stuff.
Ooh, yes.
Going on the topic of PC on Battlefront, let's talk about your awesome community video. So, just for people who don't know, could you give like just an umbrella description of what that awesomeness was?
Yeah, of course. So last month, I contacted a bunch of Star Wars creators, Bombastic, John Goffett, Cinematic Captures, Azatru, among many others, and we did a charity video event where we all basically competed in a tournament-style competition on Battlefront. So it was like totem pole race, who can stack as many Jedi on top of each other, hide and go seek, or melee kills only, and that was really fun because it's not the main objective of Battlefront. You're not trying to capture the points, but it was really exciting to have everyone together for a good cause.
That got me thinking about the future of Battlefront as a community. So Battlefront 2015, as it was ending, it was starting to drop off. Battlefront's system for DLC was definitely limiting for the people who could experience it. So for people who didn't play Battlefront 2015, it was you had the base game, and then you had the season pass, which came with 4 different DLCs, or you could buy those DLCs separately. That was definitely one of those older generation kind of support structures for a game. We don't really see that anymore now, because it's one of those things that you separate the community too much when you do stuff like that. It's definitely why we see in like Apex and Fortnite, we have more of the battle passes kind of thing, where it's just you pay this thing and then you get exclusive cosmetics. So it's nothing that really affects the gameplay. And then the previous generation, it was definitely one of those things like you had a multiplayer shooter, it had a season pass, you got extra stuff because of that. But because of that, it separated the community a little too much, and you saw a drop off on certain game modes, certain expansions. And towards the end of the life, we knew that Battlefront 2 was coming. We heard very, very big rumblings on that front. So as Battlefront 2015 started to end, it started to drop off. And I feel like we're in a different place with Battlefront 2 because of the community so strong. We've had so many new people in the community. It's a very vibrant place. And for so long, we've been a community based around content creation on like updates. So when I saw your video, I was like, oh my gosh, this right here is the future of keeping Battlefront 2 and subsequently Battlefront 2015 as a viable community to still be a part of.
I'm in a lot of Discord servers with very like large groups of people, but they're all in their own spheres, either whether that be open game camera or Battlefront modding or milsim community. There are a lot of players who I thought after the end of Battlefront 2 receiving content updates would completely fall apart. But I've been surprised to learn that no, they actually pretty much all of those communities are still growing, which is quite remarkable. And I'm sure that has partly to do with Battlefront 2 being released on Steam and PS4, but it's quite remarkable. And the community members that have been a part of it still cherish and value that to this day. And I feel like the reason being is because Battlefront 2 is such an all-encapsulating, multi-era. It's like a complex game. You've got starfighters, you've got heroes, you've got Ewok Hunt. What is Ewok Hunt? And it's a place that everyone can come together as a multiplayer game. It's the reason why Jedi Fallen Order cannot build that more than just being a single player game, which obviously wasn't their goal. They weren't trying to be a multiplayer game, but
yeah.
That's where the value comes in, and people can still have fun and enjoy their times. I loved what Arcros and Sammy Boy had done with the Battlefront Duels challenge tournament. They had so many people get involved with that. I remember so many people telling me, Wolf, I made it past the next round. I'm going to keep competing. And I knew some of the finalists in the final round, but it was really exciting to see so many community members engaging together, creating a game within a game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where exactly what you're saying, keeping the Battlefront community alive and growing it further. I'm 100% on board with that.
What was the process like for getting all of these people together? Because the Star Wars Battlefront creator community is super close-knit. We're all very supportive of each other. But what was that process like? Could you go into that aspect just a little bit?
Yeah. So a while back, Danger Cat had invited, I don't know when you came into this, but Danger Cat invited us to Wayfinder. And I was really excited to finally, have easy access to meet some of my favorite creators.
Definitely.
And it was recently around that time that I also started getting on Twitter. And I noticed that Instagram is where a lot of the audience is, but Twitter is where all the important decision makers are and where a lot of important news and information and opinions are shared. So I tried to get in contact with most of the creators via Twitter, which most of them did actually respond on Twitter. And I asked them, hey, would you be interested in doing this project? Obviously, I fleshed this out with my team. My team was really excited about this collaboration idea with other creators. I really wanted to show, the broader community that we all know each other. I know Bombastic and Azatrue and Sammy Boy, and these are people that I talk to all the time. But we don't do video projects together, so our YouTube audience wouldn't know that we collaborate or want to do something like this. But yeah, I mentioned this before to Danger Cat, but it felt like as a kid, every time I saw those crossover episodes with like Timmy Turner and like Jimmy Neutron or different characters, SpongeBob and I don't know what other shows, but it was very exciting to see these crossover episodes. So I really wanted to do that with some of my favorite Star Wars creators, and it was a lot of fun. All of them had a blast. I basically had to find a time zone that worked with most of them, which was the hardest part, especially with, people being in all over the world, in Germany,
those darn
in
Aussies.
the UK, in Australia, New Zealand, the United States. So unfortunately, Forensic Steel and Daily Tactics had to bite the bullet and wake up at 4 a.m. for this. But it was quite fun. We unfortunately had some people who couldn't make it. Aussie Jedi, I know, was a big request. Couldn't get him to come. Rogue Wolf couldn't make it. Yeah, and I know a lot of people on my YouTube channel were asking for Zanny. Zanny didn't check his DMs. He's since responded to me, but we might plan something else in the future.
Excellent. Yeah, it was around that same time that you reached out that I was in the process of getting my parts for the PC, so I was like right on the edge of it too. Yeah. So
yeah,
you reached out.
We missed you.
Yeah.
We really missed you.
I was like, oh man, that would have been so fun, but like literally the next week I had gotten the PC stuff set up, so it was close, but not close enough.
Just rough timing. We'll run it back.
Yeah.
We'll definitely run it back.
We definitely need to do more stuff with that. Just a little tease on the Wayfinder front. So we've got some awesome stuff planned in that vein. So stay tuned to the Wayfinder Twitter and Instagram.
You guys don't want to miss this.
It's going to be epic.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
That's as much as we can say now, but we've made a lot of progress and a little time just today. A lot of the questions that I get asked, especially since we started streaming now, every Saturday we've started streaming.
I love the streams. They're great.
I love doing the streams. It's so much fun. Oh my gosh. The last stream that we did with Ethan, where it was just me versus him in Battlefront 2015, was so tense and so much fun.
Both of you would kick my butt. I literally, there's a reason why I stick to cinematics. I don't play well.
That was my first time actually, my second time playing Battlefront 2015 on PC. And I was so proud of what I could accomplish.
Wow, man, I'm really impressed.
I was expecting to get wiped. I was expecting the floor to get wiped with me, but I held my own, probably because I was streaming. That was the only reason.
Yeah, you felt the pressure of all your audience members being like, "Yo, you got to play well."
Exactly. But it was super fun. Questions that a lot of people ask are like favorite heroes, favorite characters. So I'll be going forward with the podcast. It will be a lot of how to play and getting a bunch of cool people on the episode to talk about Battlefront and what they really love about it.
Yes.
So on that
I'd
front,
love to tune into that.
Yes. On that front, let's talk about our favorite game modes.
Okay. Well, do you want to go first on this?
Sure.
I'd love to hear what you like.
One of my favorite game modes, and it's something that I was actually completely against when it got announced, co-op. So co-op, when it got announced, I was like, this is going to be dumb. I'm going to hate this. This is stupid. And there's episodes of the podcast where, like, when it got announced, I was like, this doesn't sound like my kind of thing. And I was wrong, because it is exactly my kind of thing. Super surprising. It's something that at the end of the day after work, I'll go home, boot up either the PlayStation, the Xbox, or PC, or whatever I'm closest to, and put on co-op, because it's me with 3 other people going against AI. There aren't really any like stresses or anything like that. I can just sit down, chill, and not worry about doing really good, getting on the scoreboard or anything like that. It's just something that I can chill and enjoy.
Oh, I 100% agree.
It's also really fun when you can get people on. Like, you can get I've gotten the 3 of my buddies on, and we've been able to just like completely destroy everyone because then you get in a voice chat and you can really just like coordinate everything. It's really fun. That's one of my favorites, as well as I've been trying to get more into the smaller game modes. I think that's something that a lot of people overlook because they either go to Capital Supremacy or they're heroes versus villains. So I've been trying to do more of the smaller stuff, and because of that, I really, really like Strike. And Ewok Hunt's pretty fun. You play Strike? I'm not great, but I do.
Man, no, that's a really interesting niche one. I don't even remember the last time I played Strike. Probably like 3 weeks ago.
Definitely. Now let's talk about what are some of the ones that you're super into.
Wow, I love what you said about co-op because I felt the exact same way. I was not excited at all. Why would I want to fight AI?
Exactly.
Then I realized the AI can kick your butt, and they can emote over you after you die just to rub it in your face. So it made me actually hate the AI even more. I remember when it first launched, the Wookiees, Chewbacca, could dodge, barrel roll, and chuck a grenade at you all at the same time, which you couldn't do even with a controller. I was like, oh no, we are doomed.
We're doomed.
That was really fun. I love Starfighter Assault. I think Starfighter Assault is obviously because Criterion and Motive didn't work on it anymore after the game launched. We never got any new updates. But Starfighter Assault was amazing. Being able to play Ryloth, Camino, all the maps, Starfighters were really challenging for me to use at first because they don't work the same like they did in Battlefront 1. But I realized with the way that it moves and all the mechanics had been improved. Starfighters felt so much more immersive, and if you were really skilled with it, you'd perform really well. That was really fun to play. I love HVV. Just being able to play as heroes and combat. And the community really respects the 1v1. I know there are some people who don't, but I've been in games where people will just let me have a 1v1, or I'll back off and let 2 people have a 1v1. And it's great to see, especially without, private matches always to, help out with that. And the last one is Capital Supremacy. This is the game that probably kicked off my channel because with the 104th Milsim, which I play a lot with, a lot of guys will just hop into a lobby. 20 of us, we filled in the lobby this actually yesterday.
That's awesome.
So we're going to be having a video coming out soon. But we just all communicate together. We'll be like, all right, squad 1 is these people, squad 2 is these people. We'll send them to different points. It's so collaborative. It's so much fun. You get to do a tug of war battle. And the thing is, we nerf ourselves. We don't play as reinforcements. We don't play as heroes. We only play as the main 4 classes.
That's so fun.
But because we have a coordination, it's still unfair. But yeah, it's really exciting, and that's Capital Supremacy is a game mode where I can play and select. I mean, now they've updated it so you can select which era, right? But before it was only Clone Wars, and I was like, oh my god, if I want to play Clone Wars, this is where I go. And now you can actually still do that because it's split up, but it's so much fun. I love Capital Supremacy. It's my favorite game mode by far.
That's really interesting. What's your favorite map? Because one of my favorite additions of Capital Supremacy were the capital ships. I love the look and the feel of those, and how very unique they are to the map structure. But what are your favorite ones? My
favorite maps, I think Geonosis is still my favorite map.
I think
it was fleshed out really well. The OG, yeah, I'm always happy to get Geonosis. Camino and Kashyyyk are also really fun. Felucia I like because it's a new map, though I will say I get a lot of bugs on that map, so it feels a little different. But yeah, I did not expect them to build the interiors for the Venator and for the Dreadnought, and it was so exciting to actually play in them. And then they did the same thing for the First Order and for the Resistance. I remember just sitting there opening all the food on the First Order cantina. I was like, oh my god, there's a pie, there's barbecue pork, there's so much stuff that you can open up. It was so exciting, and it's beautiful. The interior is so well done. They put a lot of work into it, and DICE, respect for you for that. That's awesome.
Definitely, yeah. The Resistance ship is probably my favorite map in the game. Just hands down.
Wow.
I love the look of that. It captures the feel that I love in Star Wars. That the rough the rough, like lived-in world.
Big Mon Cali guy.
Yes.
Yes. No, it's so cool to see. That ship was awesome. I like that one too.
I'm also very interested in your love of the space combat. So Rogue Wolf. Last episode we had Split Screen, we had Rogue Wolf, we had Arcross, and we had Ethan.
My favorite guys.
Great guys. Rogue was so funny in that episode. Because we're talking about Squadrons.
I have to take a list. I have to take a listen. I have your Spotify opened up on my phone right now. I was actually going to listen to your last episode after we finished today.
Yes. Rogue is so funny in that episode because this is basically his dream game, Squadrons, and it was so fun.
Really
talking with him and going through. Basically, this is the game that was made for him, kind of thing, because it's Starfighter Assault. And Starfighter combat in Battlefront 2 is probably the most robust aspect of the game. They haven't touched it at all, which may be one of the reasons why it's so not buggy. But it's just it captures the feel of flying a ship. It just gets everything right on that front because it's Criterion. Criterion knows vehicle feel like the back of their hand. Mm-hmm. But what drew you to the Starfighter Assault?
I wonder, and I'm going to listen to this later, but I wonder how much, if you guys at all talked about the fleet battles and if you guys are going to play together and all that. I'd love to hop in a squadron with you guys.
Definitely. We definitely need to do that.
Yeah.
It's not, so that episode was recorded the day before just because of schedules. Like we weren't able to.
Oh, so it was before the trailer.
Before the trailer. It was just the teaser stuff. It was before the gameplay reveal. So it was the first wave of information on it.
So I'm the first guest talking about post.
Yes. So
the trailer.
Let's talk about this.
Exciting. Okay. Well, watching it live, very exciting. Luckily, this time there was no Gonk Lord spam in the chat on EA with slow mode enabled. Very exciting stuff. Being able to see the fact that you can customize so much of your cockpit, of yourself, of your starfighter. Really cool to see. The fact that you can do fleet battles, which makes me feel like it looks like a GTA heist, like planning, honestly, is what I thought about. But very exciting. I saw on Twitter the other day that you can actually fly and attack the main capital ship before you even get past the first two phases.
Jay shared that in Reddit or Discord or one of the two?
Yeah. Jay shared that, yeah. And I thought that was remarkable. Obviously, probably you won't survive, but that's really cool to see. I cannot believe that there are so many starfighter classes that you can use. And the bombers are the one that appealed to me the most. Just look at the way they like ripped up the capital ships in the trailers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's remarkable. My friend Quasar, he's a starfighter main in Battlefront. He was playing the other day. He's like practicing for Squadrons. He shut off his HUD and everything and was trying to shoot down some TIE fighters. But yeah, I love just space combat. This is what Star Wars is, you know? Like what did amaze people in A New Hope was the starfighter sequence that George Lucas filmed with his little mocks.
Yes.
And it looked remarkable. And Star Wars is, essentially starfighters. You think of Jedi and everything of that, but like, I really feel like X-Wing TIE fighter, that is what Star Wars is.
Definitely. Let's go into some of the details. Obviously, this isn't like news, but if you listen to this podcast, you listen for the after, not the right at the bleeding edge of the news. So we've got, like you said, we've got the different classes basically for the ships. We've got basically, if we're putting it in the Battlefront terms, we've got the assault, we've got the heavy, we've got the specialist, we've got the officer, kind of. On the Republic, the New Republic side, which is always tripping me up, we've got the T-65 X-Wing, the BTL Y-Wing bomber, the RZ-1 A-Wing, and then the U-Wing as well, which is a support craft. And
the Y-Wing. Yes,
the Y-Wing. And then the Imperials, we've got the TIE Fighter, the OG, the TIE SA Bomber, the TIE Interceptor, and the TIE Reaper. It's really awesome. We're going to be playing as squads of 5. So 2 squads of 5 versus each other, 5v5. You get together with a squad, which you make your own squadron, which is like the dream. The dream situation.
It is the dream. What are you going to play as first when you get the game?
I'm probably going to go with basically the all around, or maybe I did have a lot of fun with the bomber in Battlefront 2, so I may do that as well. But just depending on who we get to play with. But we're definitely going to have some streams together and get some squads going, because that's just going to be so much fun.
This is Red 5 standing by.
Exactly.
I can't wait to do that. I want to do some Y-wing bombing runs. We did this a lot in Battlefront, but I want to actually do it like first person, hopefully VR. Just fly a line of Y-wing bombers and just bomb the heck out of the capital ship.
It's going to be so much fun. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
And there's going to be Reddits and Discords all about like playing in character. That's just going to be so much fun.
It's funny because I definitely in my mind I'm like, gosh, like why would people do that? But then I think about it and like I'm doing that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Let's talk.
I can't wait.
Let's talk about the different modes that they've got. First off, I just want to mention how beautiful the game looks.
Oh my god, it looks gorgeous.
Have you
seen the maps? Have you seen the planets that you can fly around?
Yes, just the little like thumbnails that they've got. Oh my goodness! If they look half as pretty as the thumbnails that they've got there, it's just going to be insane.
Oh, 100%. It's going to be so dope. I'm so excited for that. I can't believe that you can interact with your dashboard. The one thing that got me was the Ewok bobblehead. I really want one right now. But yeah, the fact that like everything is just so beautiful, sparks fly. Oh god, it's so exciting to see. I'm sure the dogfights will be really intense.
Definitely.
Assuming there's another pilot behind that other ship that I'm flying after. Oof, we're gonna be in circles.
Yeah.
Do you like the fact that you can stop your ship? Like, not in like Battlefront where you keep flying forward, but you can actually stop your ship and rotate it in place.
I think that's a really cool addition. It's definitely going to change up the way people play. So instead of being in an endless circle like you would in Battlefront, you can definitely plan it out a little more. And with the different classes, I think you'll be able to play around with planning a little more than you would in Battlefront, because in Battlefront it was very reactive, and I think this one you can plan a little bit better, just depending on how everything goes. But that's a cool addition. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's so cool to see. I do you ever see that there's like an anime X-Wing versus TIE Fighter thing that someone made on YouTube? That's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking of, because you see the people in there, they're like diverting power from their engines to their shields or vice versa. And then you're seeing that you can do that in this game, which I'm remarkably amazed by. Like, I can imagine like me diverting all my power to my engines, flying towards the capital ship, and then being shot down because I didn't divert anything to my shields.
Yes.
That's such an immersive experience that I think gives a lot of power to the players and is going to completely change the way we play.
Definitely. What are you a story player person?
Yes.
Okay. I know some people like play Battlefront and don't play the campaign at all. Which I
have to play through a campaign at least once.
Yes.
Except for the Call of Duty games. I never played through the campaign for Call of Duty. But for Halo, I would.
Definitely.
Star Wars games, I always play through the campaign. Because they always do something with the storyline, and there's always an important character. Plus, when I was in multiplayer and I was playing as Iden Versio, and I didn't know who she was, I was like, why am I playing as her?
Exactly. Only thing I don't like about the difference between the multiplayer and the campaign in Battlefront is that you can't roll as Iden.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, how come that's the case?
I don't know. I think it may have been the separate teams and not just really thinking about it that way, but it always messes with my brain when I'm playing the campaign, and it's like, I can't roll. No.
Yeah, that's actually really funny that you bring that up.
I'm super excited, though, for the story of Squadrons. That's going to be a really, really fun addition.
So we see that you get to play as the Empire and the Rebel Do you think it goes back and forth, or is it you play as one and play it through, and then you play as the other and you play it through?
That's what I'm confused about. From what they've said and what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be you pick one side and you play through that storyline. But
Okay.
it may be, I think just story-wise, it may be better if they just go both sides. But
How does that make? I mean, my question is, you're playing chess against yourself. So if you do really well, because they said something about you doing well on one side affects the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So am I just making it harder for myself, like with each game I play? I'm really not sure.
it may be that it's just you pick one side, you play through that story, and then you have to go back and play through the other side, possibly. That could be cool, or I'm not... It'll definitely be interesting to see how that goes through, because they haven't been like.
Sounds like a lot of people
clear.
are going to play Empire.
Yeah,
from what I heard. Yeah.
As usual. Are you a Rebel or an Empire guy?
For Starfighters, I'm Rebel. I like the variation in ships, and I also want to be able to play it as an X-wing with the target locator or something.
Yes.
You know, that's what Star Wars is. What about you?
I'm more of a Rebels guy.
Nice.
I rooted for the Rebels when I watched Star Wars, and I like to recreate that in Battlefront.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna have a great experience. I hope, as well as everyone else.
It's gonna be fun. So we've got the story mode, we've got the dogfight, which is the 5v5. Mission is simple. The execution requires skill. Fine-tune your loadouts for speed and accuracy. Compose your squadron with different starfighter classes and eliminate the enemy to claim your glory. And then they also have the fleet battles, which is unite with your squadron online or play against bots to tip the scales in monumental fleet battles. A multi-stage objective-based contest between 2 squadrons of 5. Something that I was so glad to see was crossplay.
Oh, yeah. That is awesome. I'm so glad that games are doing this now.
Yes.
Thank God we live in this day and age. I'm so excited about that.
I'm right there with you. Oh, my gosh. I think it opens up just so you should be able to play with your friends no matter what console or what platform they play on.
And that's I'm very happy that the game companies are finally allowing people to crossplay and not, I don't want to use this term necessarily, but like penalize people for buying one console versus another from being able to play with other people online. That was a big limitation when we were doing our Battlefront collaboration videos. Everyone's on different consoles. But the one that they all had in common was PC, so that was wonderful.
Exactly.
except yours truly until a week after, but
that's something when they announced that, I was like, are you serious? You're not pulling my leg? Is this real? And I'm so happy that that's a
Me
thing.
too.
I really
Me
wish
too.
that they had added it to Battlefront, or like they were able to open that up. But from what I hear, it's a ground level problem that they weren't able to do. Any final notes? I know you have to hop off soon, but any final notes on Battlefront and the community and the state of things right now?
With the Battlefront community, I want to say that there's a large number of you out there who spread your love for Star Wars and enjoy each other's company and are very positive. And I hope that the community continue to move towards that direction where people support each other, enjoy the game together, and spread that like love and affection for the series that we all watched growing up and continue to watch to this day. I don't know. I really like promoting positivity and community. So focusing on those aspects, I think moving on would be splendid for everyone.
Definitely. That's something I'm super proud of our community for in the Battlefront podcast is like, if I had only 3 fingers, I could probably count on one hand the amount of like negativity that we've had through our community. The people that listen to our podcast are some of the best people. Fantastic.
I've never engaged with the community that's been on Star Wars Battlefront podcast, but they sound like amazing people from what I've heard from you and from everyone else who's been involved with your previous episodes. So I'm very excited to hear that this community exists, and
definitely
bravo on you for engaging with this community and keeping them on the right side of the force.
the Venn diagram of people who listen to podcasts and listen to or play Battlefront, in the middle is just awesome people. And between those two,
I love it.
Is just awesome people.
I'm sure it's a big middle section there.
Yeah,
I sure hope so.
It's great. We actually like 2 months ago, we surpassed 200,000 downloads for our podcast.
Wow, that is remarkable. I'm so impressed. Congratulations. That is remarkable.
Thank you. It's
so many people.
It's crazy to think that a game that my brother and I started 5 year ago, a podcast on one game, is able to do that. Like it blows my mind.
Did you start? What was the game you started on? If
Battlefront.
Just out of
So
wow,
we started the podcast a week or two before Battlefront 2015 launched. We actually bought we had never had a PlayStation before Battlefront. We bought the Darth Vader PlayStation specifically to play Battlefront.
My God. Wow. Well, it's remarkable. I'm so happy you're doing it 5 years later and have succeeded in such a way. You are one of my favorite creators that exists in the Battlefront community.
Thank you so much.
I said this to you earlier, but for the viewers, this guy's voice is so rich. It's amazing. I love his voice. I could listen to it all day long.
Thank you.
But yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for joining.
Say thank you.
I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and it's finally why haven't I actually just reached out to him? So this has been
shucks, man,
super fun.
I'm so flattered. I'm so happy to be on, and honestly, I'm very excited to work on some projects with you. I know we teased a little bit about it, but yeah, it'll be an awesome time.
Definitely. So stay tuned for both of our channels for some awesome stuff. I think that's about it for this episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You can find us on Twitter at SWB Podcast, and links to all of the awesome guests in this episode and their Twitter and channels will be in the description of this episode. You can also find us on Instagram at SWB Podcast. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/battlefrontpodcast, or through PayPal, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep. TYEDYESHEEP. A great free way to support the show is through leaving a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you can find podcasts and leave a review. We'd greatly appreciate it. We love hearing your thoughts on the show as well as feedback. A new thing we are doing, we are streaming every Saturday on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. We've had 3 streams so far, and all of them have been really, really fun. The first one, I just streamed instant action while I was figuring out the settings for streaming, but the other 2 are really great. The second one was just me talking about the future of the show and Star Wars games and interacting with the awesome people that joined on the stream. The third one we've done was with Ethan, and we played all kinds of different game modes in Battlefront, as well as 1v1s from Battlefront 2015. So stay tuned to the channel for that and even more Wayfinder guests. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Wherever you can find podcasts, you can find this show. As always, thanks for listening, and may the Force be with you.